Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to give you a full walkthrough of the 2022 Year 6 Arithmetic paper. So a few rules of the test is that you can't use a calculator and that you must finish the test in 30 minutes because timing is a very good skill in this paper. So here we have the first question, 6,155 plus 501 plus 649. Is we can write this as 500 and this as 600. This leaves us with 1,150. Now these are nice two numbers to add. The next step that you'd have to do is just do column addition. This would be 5, this would be 10 carrying the 1, this would be 3, and this would be 7. So the final answer is 7,305. Moving on, we've got a nice question here. Whenever you have a number that is times by 0, the answer is always 0. The next question is 10 plus something equals 302. Now to get that something, all we need to do is do the inverse. So all we need to do is do 302 take away 10 to give us 292. Again, here's a nice easy question. Whenever we divide something by 2, this means halving. So in this case, the answer is 1,200. Here we have another question. We have something plus 70 equals 485. Now what we have to do here is we have to take away the 485 from the 70. Using the column method, this would be 5, 1 and 4, leaving us with 415. Now in this question, it might be a bit tricky, a really simple question. What they're trying to do here is they're trying to trick you out with the decimal places. All we have to do is we have to do column addition, and here we just put a 0 here. Adding this gives us 8, 10 carrying the 1, and then 8 plus is 15 when you add the 1. So this gives us 15.08. And the key to answer in this is keeping your decimal places in the correct position. For example, you might do 6.48 plus 8.6. Now this layout here is wrong because the decimal places are not in line. Now in this question, they're trying to trick you out. What they've done here is they've put the answer box on the left hand side right here. It's the same thing where we do 240 divided by 8 equals something. And the way we do this question is quite simple. What I'd do is I'd get rid of this 0 right here and do 24 divided by 8. This gives us 3, and then all I do is add back the 0. So 240 divided by 8 equals 30. Moving on to the next question. Now in this question, we could do the bus stop method. However, I like to do an easier method, which is dividing by 10 and then just doubling my answer. So 840 divided by 10 is 84. And then all we do is just double our answer, which is times it by 2. And if we do that, 168. So therefore, your answer is 168. Now in this question, all we have to do is we have to do column subtraction. So I'll show you how to do that. So 7,306 minus 1,847. Since 6 is smaller than 7, we have to carry it. So I'll put a 1 here and a 1 here. 16 minus 7, 9. And since 0 is smaller than 4, we just put a 1 here and then carry the 1. So 10 minus 5 is 5. And 3 is smaller than the 8, so we carry the 1. So that becomes 13 minus 9, which is 4, and then all we do here is 7 take away 2, because I've carried the 1 here to make it 2. So this gives me 5. Therefore your final answer is 5,459. Now this is a nice easy question. You shouldn't be able to do a lot of work in for this. So all we do is we just add a 0 onto this number here. 10,100. And to put the comma back in, since we've added another 0 onto the right, we'll move the comma one place to the right. So giving us this answer right here. Now for this question, all we do, or well, what I would do is I'd do 56 divided by 7. This gives me 8, and all I'd do is add the 0 back on to therefore give me the answer being 80. Now all we do here is we times these first two numbers here. 6 times 10 is 60, and then we just do, so 60 times 11 would equal 60 times 10 plus one lots of 6, giving us 660. All we do here is do 108 divided by 9 to give us 12, and because we want our answer to be 10 times bigger, all we do is we add a 0 onto the answer. This gives us 120. If you ever want to check your answer, you can always do the inverse by doing 120 times by 9 to give you 1080. Now this question is testing your knowledge on place value. What I'd do here as a little trick is do 500 minus 5. This gives us 495, and because the answer has 3 extra zeros at the end, all I'd do is add the 3 extra zeros on to give us 495,000. So the answer to question 14 is 495,000. Hopefully that is useful. Now again, they're trying to trick you out with this question by putting the box on the left hand side. But it's a very simple question. All we have to do is we just do long multiplication. So 596 times 7. 6 times 7 is 42. 9 times 7 is 63. Adding the 4 gives us 67, carrying the 6. Then 5 times 7 is 35. Adding the 6 on gives us 41. Therefore, your answer to this question is 4,172. Very simple question, isn't it? So hopefully you're aware that when you're dividing decimals, we move the decimal place to the left. So in this case, all we do is we move it to the left, becoming 0.212. The original decimal place was here, and we've moved it left just once. Hopefully that makes sense. So in this question, I'd use short division. However, if it says use long division, then you'll have to use that. It just depends on whatever the question says. So, how many 21s go into 6? That would be 0. So all we do is we do how many 21s go into 67. Now that is 3, with a remainder of 4. So therefore, how many 21s go into 42? And that's 2. So the answer to this is 32. Moving on, we've got a fractions question. If you've looked at my previous videos in my channel, I've covered adding fractions. So all we need to do here is, because the denominators are not the same, we'll need to change these both to 9. For example, the first one is 9. So then all we need to do is we need to change the second fraction. So all I do is I decide how many 3's will go into 9, and that is 3 times it by 3. So therefore all we do is we times the top number by 3, giving us 6. Now what we do now is we just add the fractions together, giving us 10 over 9. Simple, isn't it? You may want to change your number to a mixed number. However, to be honest, I think it's just easier leaving your answer as an improper fraction. So here's another long multiplication question. So 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 0 is 0. Adding the 2 is the 2. Then 3 times 16 is 18. Now add a 0 here. 8 times 7, 56. 8 times 0 is 0. Adding the 5 from the carry is 5. And therefore 6 times 8 is 48. Now all we do now is just add the two numbers together. So 1 plus 0 is 1, 2 plus 6 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13, carrying the 1, 8 plus 1 is 10, carrying the 1, and then the 4 plus the 1 is 5. So therefore your answer to question 19 is 50,381. So in this question, it's place value again. So what I'll do is I'll do 13.05 and I'd write the decimal point here. And all we're going to do is we're going to move everything to the left by 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. The 1 goes here, moved it to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Moved the 3 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3. The 0. And then 1, 2, 3, the 5. Now since there's nothing left, everything else just becomes 0. Therefore your answer is 13,050, and you can write your answer without the decimals. Now in this question, we'll have to convert this fraction. This is called a mixed number. Now a little rule or trick that I do is I do 2 times by the 3 to give me 6 as the numerator, and all I do is add 1 to the numerator to give me 7, and all I do now is just leave the denominator the same to give me 7 over 3. So to repeat what I've done is I've done 3 times 2 plus 1 to give me the 7, and all I do is just keep this denominator the same. That's an easy way to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. Next we do 2 over 3 plus 7 over 3. Now because the denominators are the same, we can just add them, giving us 9 over 3, and therefore simplifying to 3. So therefore your answer to this question is 3. So question 22, 7 over 10 of 30. So what I'd do is I'd work out 1/10 of 30. And this is the same as saying dividing by 10. So all I'd do is do 30 divided by 10, giving me 3. And because I want to find 7 lots of 10, all I'd do is do 3 times 7 equaling 21. So therefore 7 lots of 10, 7 over 10 over 30 equals 21. Now one way to check your answer is if your answer in the box is bigger than the number we're dividing, then you've done it wrong. Because when you find a fraction of a number, it's always going to be smaller. So for example, 7/10 of 30 cannot be any number greater than 30. So unfortunately for this question, we'll have to use a written method. So we'll use column subtraction. We'll put the 8 here, and we'll do 5, 0.1, 2, and 3. Now because there's no numbers here, we can write this as 8.000. To begin with, 0 take away 3, you can't do that, so you'd have to carry 1 and bring it on the other side. So 10 take away 3 is 7. Nothing take away 2, you can't do, so add a 1 here and a 1 here. So 10 take away 3 is 7 again. And since 0 take away 1, again you can't do, so 10 take away 2, that's 8 at the decimal point, and 8 take away 6 because we've added a little 1 here, and that's 2. So our answer is 2.877. Okay, question 24. Since we're dividing a fraction, all we're going to do here is we're actually going to double the denominator. So what we do here is we actually do 1/8 divided by 2, and this, instead of making it really difficult, all we need to do is just double the denominator, giving us 1/16. Now another lovely fractions question. Now because these denominators are different, we'll have to times it by a number to make them the same. So in this case, 2 and 3, a common denominator, is 6. So what I'd do is I'd find a number that times by something to get 6. In this case, it's 3. And since we've times the bottom number by 3, we'll do the same for the top. So 1 times 3 is 3. And we've done the same thing here, times it by 2. So therefore, 1 times 2 is 2. And therefore, since the denominators are the same, we can just add the fractions like normal, giving us 5/6. Okay, another column subtraction. So 26 minus 2. And because there's no numbers after the 26, we can just add the zeros. Nothing take away 2, you can't do it, so 10 take away 2 is 8. 0 is smaller than this 1 here, so add a 1 here and carry it. So 10 take away 2 is 8. Can't do it, so 10 take away 1 is 9. At the decimal point, 3.988. Again, a very simple column subtraction. So here's a nice simple percentage question. So we want to find out 15% of 3,200. So what I'll first do is I'll find 10%. 10% of 3,200 is 320. Next we want to find 5% of 3,200, and this is 160. And all we've done is I've halved this 320. And what we do now is we just want to add the 10% value and the 5% value. So 320 plus 160, 0 plus 0, 0, 6 plus 2, 8, 3 plus 1 is 4. So the answer is 480. So we have another percentage question. So we'll find 1%, which is 30. And then because we want to find 2%, all we do is we just do 30 add 30, which is 60. Because we found 1%, and if we need to find another 1%, this also equals 30, therefore giving us 60. So therefore your answer for question 28 is 60. Another division question, very simple. How many 73 is going to 3? That's 0. How many 73 is going to 30? That's also 0. And now how many 73 is going to 306? Now a good tip to doing this is actually writing out your 73 times table. So how many 73 is going to 306? The answer is 4. Now we have a remainder. To work out the remainder, it's 306 minus the 292. This is 14, and therefore we just write 14 in here. So how many 73 is going to 146? And we can see that it's 2 here. So therefore the answer is 42. Now with these questions you can do short division or long division. It really doesn't matter how you get to your answer. Now here's another trickier percentage question. Again, we'll find 10%. This is 11.5. And all we need to do now is do 11.5 times by 8 to give us the 80%. What we can do is we can do 11 times 8, giving us 88. And then 8 times them by half, giving us 4. And all we do now is just add those numbers together, giving us 92. So therefore your answer to question 30 is 92. Okay guys, another fractions question. So we've got to find the same denominators. So in this case, it's 63. Now to work out the numerator, this top number here, we need to figure out what we times by to get the 63, and that would be 9. So 9 times 2 is 18, and then the same on the other side. So what did we times by 9 to get 63, and that would be 7. So therefore 7 times 1 is 7. And then since the denominators are the same, we just take them away. So 18 take away 7 is 11 over 63. Hopefully that's useful. Here's another fractional question. We have a mixed number here and a regular fraction. So we'll convert this mixed number. So what I like to do is do 2 times 2 equals 4 plus the 1, giving us 5, and then keeping the denominator the same, equaling 5 over 2. So now we have 5 over 2 minus 2 over 3. We'll have to make the denominators the same. So in this case, it's 6. And what did we times by 2 to get 6? That's 3. So therefore we do 3 times 5, which is 15. And on this case, we times by 2. So therefore the numerator would be 4. And therefore your answer to this question is 11 over 6. So this question is a little bit more complicated because we had to change the mixed number into an improper fraction and then change both the fractions by giving them the same denominator and then finally taking them away. Okay, another long multiplication question, so hopefully you should be able to do this. 8 times 7 is 56, 7 times 7 is 49, adding the 5 is 54. 7 times 0 is 0, adding the 5 is 5, and then 7 times 4 is 28. Now add a 0 here, 6 times 8, 48, 6 times 7, 42, add in the 4, 46, 6 times 0 is 0, add in the 4, and 6 times 4, therefore it's 244680, and all we do is you add these up together. 6 plus 0 is 6, 8 plus 4 is 12, 5 plus 6 is 11, adding the 1 is 12, 8 plus 4 is 12, adding the 1 is 13, 2 plus 4 is 6, adding the 1 is 7, and then 2 plus nothing is 2. So your answer to this question is 273,226. You might find this question tricky, but honestly it's very simple. So first off, I'd do 10 take away 2, which is 8, and 8 is essentially 7 plus 4 over 4. And then all we need to do is we need to take a quarter off the 4 over 4, giving us 7 3/4. Hopefully you understand how I worked that out. So all I've done to repeat is do 10 take away 2 is 8, and 8 can be written as 7 plus 4 over 4, because that 4 over 4 can be written as 1. So basically it's 7 plus 1 equals 8, which is the same. And therefore all we're doing is we're taking that 4/4 from a quarter, giving us the 3/4. So therefore your answer to question 34 is 7 3/4. Now in question 35 we'll have to use something called BODMAS. This stands for brackets, other, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. And what we do is we work along this rule. So we do brackets first, anything other, dividing, multiplying, adding and then subtracting. So the first thing you do in this question is you divide, because it's the third letter, because there's no brackets and there's nothing else. So this would be 6 plus 4 divided by 2, which gives me 6 plus 2. And therefore your answer is 6 plus 2, which therefore equals 8. So therefore your answer to question 35 is 8. We're nearly at the finish line, so arguably the hardest question in the paper. However, I'll teach you a way to make it really simple for you. So what is 4/5 multiplied by 400? You might be thinking, oh, there's a fraction here and we're multiplying. What do I do here? Well, I'll show you. 4/5 times 400 is exactly the same as 4/5 of 400. It's just written in a different format / different way. So therefore, if you know how to find a fraction of something, you should be fine with this question. So the first step you do is you want to find 1/5. But instead of doing that, we could find 1/10 and then just double our answer. So 1/10 of 400 is actually 40. So therefore 1/5 of 400 is 80, because all we've done is doubled our answer. And now we just need to find the remaining 4/5. And to do that, we do 80 times 4. 80 times 4 is 320. So therefore your answer for the final question in the paper is 320. Hopefully you find this video useful, and if you've got any questions wrong or anything that you don't understand, always just leave a comment and just keep practicing. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe.